Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. Glad you're with us. New tonight, we continue our conversation with the newly named Archbishop of Hartford.
On the news at 5, you heard his thoughts on growing and evolving the church and his views on transparency and the sexual abuse scandal.
Fox 61's Matt Caron is back again in studio after asking him more questions, including whether Catholics can anticipate more church closures. Matt.
Well, yeah, we've seen it happen all across Connecticut. These big, beautiful churches and their steeples that scrape the skylines, one by one being torn down or repurposed as churches continue to consolidate and close. The Archbishop's response to all of that was blunt.
We see parishes merging. A lot of the times it's parishes that have a cultural history, a Polish church, an Armenian church, whatever it may be. People who came here and built that church from the ground. And it's part of who they are. Do you see consolidation continuing?
I do. And it's not because we don't have enough priests, it's because we don't have enough people. Listen, I know that people are attached to their churches, that they were built by their ancestors, and there's a lot of things. It's like letting go of the family home. But it's not done to hurt, it's not done for political reasons or anything else. It's just done because we can't continue to maintain the number of buildings that we have. There are going to continue to be church closings for the right reasons, which is just there's no people there. And again, I know it's hurtful, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it by saying, let me think about it.
Before he can figure out how to grow the faith, making the church financially stable will be one of Archbishop Christopher Coyne's biggest tasks. Some boxes are still unpacked in his office. He didn't waste any time getting to work.
Where do you see the church in 10 years?
I see us vibrant, alive, and growing.
And while his new duties demand a focus on the Archdiocese of Hartford and its 117 parishes across the state, it's hard to ignore the global scope of a war in the Holy Land and what that means for Catholics across the world.
What are your thoughts when you see the destruction in Israel?
I try and stay out of the political aspects of these things. You don't garner any kind of, you garner perhaps from one side or another a kind of applause, but you also garner criticism, and my job as a priest is to be a pastor, not a politician. What I continue to do is pray for peace in the Holy Land, pray that both sides may come to a place of peace, that the war and violence that's going on there may end, that on both sides.
Speaking of prayer, back here at home in Connecticut, people in the tiny town of Thomaston are praying for a miracle.
Do you believe miracles can happen?
Oh yeah, no, I do. I do. I've been part of some investigation of these things that you just can't prove it. I mean, how did this happen?
It was just before Easter of 2023 at St. Thomas Church when hosts, which Catholics believe transform themselves into the body of Christ during Eucharistic communion, allegedly began mysteriously multiplying themselves in a serving vessel called a ciborium. The church initiated an investigation and sent their findings to the Vatican in Rome.
Is there any update to this investigation? What does it state?
No, there's no update. The file's over in Rome. We're waiting for some kind of one way or another, an opinion on the matter. I haven't read the file. I've been told about it. I've got a lot more things on my list of things to do, and so once we receive the opinion from Rome, then that's when I'll go and take a look at what we've got. It's a huge binder of stuff.
Archbishop Coyne has ministered in Boston, Indianapolis, and most recently Vermont. He's 65 years old and, of course, replaces Leonard Blair, who's retiring but remaining in Connecticut. If you want to see our full interview with the Archbishop, we'll have that available very shortly on our website, fox61.com. In the studio, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. A sad update to bring you tonight. We've learned a Fairfield University student was one of the 4 people killed in a Wrongway crash on Route 15 in Stratford. The university confirming Alexander Dennis was driving home to Massachusetts after finishing his junior year when the crash happened. Police say Dennis was driving northbound in the southbound lanes, hitting a minivan head-on. Dennis, along with the driver and passengers of that minivan, died. They were identified as Stephen Rolland, Olga Vitale and Thomas Vitale. Fairfield University says it plans to celebrate Dennis's life when students return to campus in the fall.
New details tonight. Hartford police have made an arrest in connection to a homicide that happened back in 2022. Dodrienne Keith is facing charges in connection to the death of Brian Knighton. He was found dead on Martin Street on June 15th of 2022. The medical examiner saying Knighton had signs of assault. Keith is being held on $750,000 bond.
Time now for a check on the weather. A cooler day to end the work week.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frame joining us now. Rach.
Lots of green here on the radar as showers move back in again. So we started off the day with some showers, then most of the day turned out dry. But here we go again. They have moved back into the state. Looks like it is raining now from Farmington through Avon, Bloomfield, West Hartford, up through Windsor. We're also seeing some showers from Southington down through Bethany and Seymour. And here in southeastern Connecticut, we have some showers that are building back in again. I would say from now through about 8 or 9 o'clock, we'll have these scattered showers out here, and then we will dry things out. You'll see more showers to the west, but a lot of what you're seeing to the west will kind of pivot and slide to the south of us. So again, we're not looking at a whole lot of additional rainfall here. Temperatures right now are in the 50s to right around 60 degrees. And I think we're going to stay on the cooler side heading into the weekend, certainly below average. Notice again, after 9, we're drying things out, and we will see some clearing, especially later on tonight. And we're going to talk more about why that's important in just a little bit. Overnight lows will drop back into the low to mid 40s. So it's a cooler start to the day tomorrow, but nice and bright with sunshine. We'll see increasing clouds by afternoon with highs around 60 degrees. It's a bit cooler for your Mother's Day, but I think you can work out some time outside. We'll explain your full forecast coming up.
All right, Rachel, talk soon. Well, the 2024 legislative session officially closed, and while lawmakers are reflecting on the short session, leaders are already looking ahead to next year and a brand new budget.
Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst joining us now in studio with some exclusive insight from legislative leaders. Emma.
Brent, Bridget, I was able to head back into the Capitol and sit down with some of the Assembly's leaders to talk about this short session, which left them with fewer than 100 days to get everything they wanted done. We took a look back at what passed and what didn't, looked forward to what's next going into a new budget year, and I asked them some big questions from Connecticut residents. I know it's hard to dwindle down, but what are you walking away most proud of from this session?
Money for higher education, money for nonprofits, giving raises. We've heard that time and time again. We met that moment for them. Not exactly where they want it, but the governor was at 0. We were able to get the $50 million there. And helping some of our larger towns in municipal aid, keeping taxes lower in Danbury and Bridgeport and Waterbury, right? So you look at that and you're happy. I mentioned some of the bills. The other thing I'm really proud of when I walk away is everybody left here with a smile in this chamber. And I can't speak for the Senate, the Senate. I'm sure the leader feels similarly, though. There's a good culture here. And, as I said at the end of the night, people left here maybe upset about one bill or another, but everybody felt that they respected one another. They felt taking pictures, Republicans and Democrats. And so you can be cooperative and not always agree. And it's a good message for the state. Connecticut is not Washington, D.C. So I'm most proud of somebody who was elected by both Republicans and Democrats on opening day to be the speaker, that we left in a good place. And it means that I think when we come back next year, it's easier to get to work in a bipartisan way when you leave in a good place.
Yeah, ultimately the speaker's correct. I mean, there's a level of collaboration this session that I think we saw in both chambers, and I think leaving here was relatively positive at the end of the night. That hasn't always been every single session. So that was nice to see. I mean, I look at some of the things. There are some positive steps. 5001 was a bill that was bipartisan. I think will do good things for the people of the state of Connecticut. There were some smaller public safety measures. I think we can do more. So those are some of the positive things that went through. I think. How I look at some positive things that we prevented, I mean, the speaker might look at it a little bit differently, were some measures that would cede some levels of authority to, the Deep Commissioner to do some things that, in my opinion and my caucus's opinion, could potentially raise fees and costs as it relates to energy prices. Those are things that were rumored to have been moving forward that did not move forward, and I was happy to see that not move forward. I think that was a little too costly or potentially costly for the consumers of the state.
And we covered so much more in our conversation, including priorities like technology and AI, of course, taxes and affordability. We also asked them honest questions about the process, like if the fiscal guardrails are still best or if they're holding Connecticut back. So whether you kept up with the session very closely or haven't at all, this is definitely the episode to watch. Our full discussion will air this Sunday at 10, or you can find all of our segments online and on our free Fox 61 News app. Just click on the Real Story tab at the top of your screen. Bridget, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. Well, prosecutors are getting ready to bring in their star witness in the ongoing criminal case against former President Donald Trump in New York. Fox's Connor Hansen has the latest on the trial.
Testimony in former President Trump's New York trial will come to its climax Monday. Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, is at the center of the prosecution's case, arguing Trump falsified business records. They argue Trump reimbursed Cohen for a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels, but labeled the payments as legal fees. Cohen could be key to connecting Trump to the scheme, but he comes with his own baggage.
And who would base a case on Michael Cohen? It's a good thing they don't put their hands physically on the Bible anymore, because it would burst into flames. I mean, this is someone who just recently was denounced by a judge as a serial perjurer.
Cohen will take the stand after a dramatic week of testimony from Stormy Daniels. Prosecutors questioned her about her alleged sexual affair with Trump, recounting specific and explicit details. The defense called for a mistrial because of it, which Judge Juan Merchan denied, saying Trump's attorneys should have objected more. During cross-examination, the defense did its best to discredit Daniels and her motives.
So it was a legal expense. That somebody happened to be me. I didn't do the bookkeeping. I didn't even know about it.
After Daniels, Trump's former White House assistant, Madeleine Westerhout, took the stand. She set up a meeting between Trump and Cohen at the White House and testified that Trump sometimes signed checks and documents without closely reviewing them. Prosecutors say it's possible they'll rest their case next week. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.